For being here. Hello, everyone. We are here today with a very special and a talented person, and I want to introduce him first. George Wiseman was born in Montana and grew up on a ranch in the backwoods of British Columbia, learning the value of hard work, honor, integrity, knowledge, and skills. He became a jack of all trades and subsequently an inventor that has changed entire venues with his innovations. He started working with Brown's gas in 1986, optimizing electrolyzers to apply this amazing gas in applications such as fuel saving, torch fuel gas, and radioactive neutralization. He has become recognized worldwide and renewed in a practical applications of Brown's gas. Starting in 1996, his customers told him of their astonishing healings using Brown's gas. It took them until 2005 to convince Mr. Wiseman to try the Brown's gas on himself, and he subsequently had substantial health improvements. So thank you very much for being here. I hope that in Mexico and Latin people can be shared this information, important information, and the mic is all yours so we can find out about this wonderful invention that you have.
It is pretty incredible, and thank you for having me on your platform. If people want to look a little more at my history, they can go to the AquaCure.life website and look at my story, and it'll show pictures of the old ranch house and outhouse and all of the stuff I originally grew up in, as well as my story, my path to this particular application of Brown's gas. So why is it called Brown's gas? Yule Brown, who was I think it was Yugoslavian. In any case, he moved to Australia and started working with making electrolyzers to make hydrogen and oxygen to run vehicles on water. That was his dream, to run vehicles on water. And there are some interesting technologies going along with that, but this he never achieved it, or at least I stand corrected. I think he never achieved it because there were rumors that he did drive across the country on just water. But as far as I know, he had a test engine in his lab that when he started to run it on the gas, it would dim the lights in the entire neighborhood because it took so much electricity to make the gas enough to run the engine. And so he wasn't really, his neighbors didn't like him very much. But in any case, he did a lot of research on electrolyzers that make what the original inventor, William Rhodes in Phoenix, Arizona, originally called single ducted gas. So you have an electrolyzer that has a cathode and an anode, and just like any other electrolyzer, except there's no membrane in the middle. And that's really, really important. Normal electrolyzers, what they call Faraday electrolyzers, have the hydrogen go out one tube and the oxygen go out another tube. But hydrogen from the cathode, if there is no membrane in the middle, mixes with oxygen it is made on the anode, and all the gases go out the same hose. So that's why William Rhodes called it single ducted gas. What he didn't know was that there was an additional gas created when you do this particular type of electrolyzer. When you have no membrane in the middle, there's an electron bridge that forms between the electrodes, cathode and anode. And as the electricity travels through this matrix of the water that I call an electron bridge, it actually stuffs electrons into water, into H2O. So you get electrically charged water. And it gets so filled with energy, it's like a sponge soaking up water. It gets so full that it becomes a gaseous form of water that is not water vapor or steam. This is really important because this is what separates Brown's gas from just a normal oxygen-hydrogen mixture, which a lot of electrolyzers out there are doing this right now, and we may get back to that. But when you just have pure hydrogen and pure oxygen and mix them together, that's not Brown's gas. Because the Brown's gas has to have this third constituent, which we call electrically expanded water, which is a cold plasma, a negatively charged, because it has extra electrons, cold plasma form of water, H2O. It's still H2O. but it's a gaseous form that is a high electrical charge. And that's really important for a lot of applications of Brown's gas, including this health application. So we've covered how Brown's gas is made and essentially what Brown's gas is. Do you have further questions?
Well, actually, we want to have, know that you are a very wonderful scientist. Would like to know in a very colloquial language so people understand, even myself, that, for example, the machine that you created, why is it important for health? What can you explain to us about all these breakthroughs that can improve the health so people would know why it's important to have this machine?
Good question. And we'll have a bit of a history lesson first. The first thing is hydrogen. Our bodies are 62% hydrogen by volume, 24% oxygen, 12% carbon, and 2% everything else. So when they're talking about the vitamins and minerals and the essential nutrients, they're talking about the 2%, not the 62%. Okay, so where do we get our hydrogen? If it's so essential to our body, it's our most essential macronutrient. We normally get it from our digestive system. We eat food called hydrocarbons. Okay, it's got hydrogen and carbon in the food. And our digestive system is supposed to break the hydrogens off of the carbons in order to have the hydrogen that we need for nutrition. But that's not happening anymore. Not since things like antibiotics were invented. And antibiotics and a lot of other chemicals are wonder drugs. They've saved millions of lives, but it solved an acute situation, making a chronic situation. Because when you killed the bacteria, the bad bacteria, you were also killing the good bacteria. And then you end up with not enough hydrogen in your body. So we masticate our food, we chew our food, and we put enzymes, saliva and enzymes into the food, and then the food drops into an acid bath in our tummy, in our stomach, and then it goes into the lower intestine and it gets some extra bile put in there from the liver, and all this is digesting the food, is processing the food, it's adding catalysts and enzymes and all these things, and then the microbiome, very important. The good bacteria start working on the food and breaking it apart and making it so that we can digest it. We can take advantage of it. If we don't have that microbiome, we can't digest our food. So then as it goes through the small intestines, it's doing that, and then it gets to the large intestine where finally there's supposed to be specialized bacteria that finally breaks the carbons and hydrogens off the hydrocarbon food. So the hydrogen goes as a gas through your large intestine, your colon, into your bloodstream. Your colon actually breathes. It's a gas, goes into the bloodstream. But if those bacteria aren't there, or your digestive system hasn't prepared the food well enough before that time, because it takes a lot of energy to break the hydrogens off the carbon, a lot of energy, and your body just doesn't have the energy to do it. But if we add the catalysts of the enzymes and catalysts, it lowers the amount of energy necessary to have the reaction happen, and then they can be broken apart, those atomic bonds, and then you can get your nutrition. Okay, so we need hydrogen. We're not getting the hydrogen we should be getting. Artificial sweeteners, glyphosate, just a huge number of things that are common in the world today are decimating those bacteria, so we're not getting the nutrition that we need from our food. Now, it'd be nice to rebuild the microbiome in our bodies, but we'd also have to change our environment, because as we try to rebuild it, we keep killing it with the various things. Like they even use antibiotics when they're growing chickens and pork and all kinds of meat. So we're eating that, even though you don't take antibiotics and you think you're not getting antibiotics, you're still getting antibiotics. And a lot of the plants with the herbicides and all that kind of stuff. So it's an incredible amount of chemicals that are going into us. And in cities, a lot of people are getting these recycled. So you're getting a lot of extra hormones and drugs and stuff in the city water that is not being taken out. It's one reason that we drink only distilled water here, because we can mitigate most of those problems, including the microplastics, which is one of the most common catchphrases out there now, where everybody's trying to get rid of the micro plastics. So distill your water. All right.
Yeah.
So first, the history lesson was that we need hydrogen. We need hydrogen badly. We're not getting the hydrogen. So we supplement with hydrogen. That's what these machines do. Ordinary hydrogen, there's a lot of machines out there that make just pure hydrogen and pure oxygen, and that's good. You're getting your hydrogen supplementation. But the Brown's gas also has this additional factor of the electrically expanded water, which assists the hydrogen in your body. And science is showing it's about 30% more therapeutically effective than just pure hydrogen alone, which is why I inhale just the Brown's gas and I don't bother with the regular hydrogen, which, like I say before, it's fine. If you have a regular hydrogen system, you're getting benefit from it.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, you just now are inhaling the hydrogen.
Yes, that's
why
correct.
You have this, okay.
Yeah, I have a cannulas on I'm a decrepit person having oxygen, but it's not true. The hydrogen has reduced my biological age, as near as we can tell so far, by 20 years.
Wow.
2 decades already. I've been inhaling since March of 2016, and I now look the same as I did 20 years ago in my pictures.
Wonderful.
I looked older when I started inhaling than I do now. Okay, so you can look at the picture of me on my Facebook, for example.
I'm gonna make sure that I have this picture on this interview.
And you can look at me when now Facebook was 20 years ago, if I remember correctly, and you could see I had a big belly and I wore glasses and that sort of thing. But if you look at me on my YouTube videos, I actually videotaped myself the first time I inhaled Brown's gas, because even though my customers were telling me since 1996, in 1996, a customer had bought one of my water torches for putting gas in a regular torch so that you could cut steel and that sort of thing. But he bubbled water with it, and he put that bubbled water on a cotton ball in a plastic cap and on a melanoma on his head.
Wow.
And skin cancer. And he just kept wetting it and putting it on there and kept it on there. And in 3 weeks' time, the melanoma dropped off, the skin cancer was gone. Wow. This has been duplicated several times. But at the time, I didn't believe him back in 1996. But I did tell my customers that were buying fuel-saving devices that you can put on your vehicle and get 25% better fuel economy with the Brown's gas or these torches. My customers, I had many thousands of them. So I told them of this potential application of the gas, but I didn't do it myself. But the testimonials started coming in from people who were doing it, who were thinking, okay, we'll try this. And growing crops, if you're growing in soil, 3 times faster the crops grow if they're fed this water. In hydroponics, 10 times faster growth. Not more growth, like it just grows to a normal size and normal nutrition, but faster, 10 times faster.
I'm sorry, I have a question. Why you didn't try it yourself before?
I was used to it being a combustible gas. Some of the loudest, I used to work in a mine and part of the thing we did in the mine was blow mountains apart with explosives. I have explosive certification, okay? Some of the loudest explosions I ever heard was Brown's gas exploding in a chamber. Oh. So it was, and I was using it as a torch gas to cut steel, and I was using it in internal combustion. I'm also a certified automotive technician, specializing in fuel systems. And I was using it in internal combustion to increase the efficiency of combustion of engines. So I'm used to it to being a combustible gas. I didn't think inhaling a combustible gas was a good idea.
Right.
I was wrong.
I understand.
Because there's nothing in this gas that shouldn't already be in your body.
Okay.
So 100% healthful gas. So
what about the distilled water? I mean, people are talking about you shouldn't be drinking only distilled water because you might get drained your minerals and electrolytes and things like that. How true it is that we shouldn't be drinking?
And you're right. A lot of people ask that question. I even have a web page up answering it. So hopefully we can send you the link after if you remind me, please.
Thank you.
And or I can, anybody who's watching the video, they can ask me as well, and we can go with that. It goes like this. They are correct. Distilled water acts like a chelation agent, and it takes minerals out of your body. But it takes out the bad minerals as well as the good minerals. And then with your food, you replace the good minerals and you are in better shape. Now, I've been drinking distilled water for at least 95% of my fluid intake since, 1999. So for over 20 years, essentially, I've been drinking distilled water. And I look, mostly because of the Brown's gas, of course, but it did me no harm. And I'm looking like I did 20 years ago.
So we already found that your machine might be able to rejuvenate somebody. Also might be helping cancer.
Yes.
Like melanoma. And
yes.
For example, a person who is above average, not having these huge problems with their health, does the Brown's gas machine can do something for them?
Well, for example, healing of wounds, healing of burns, both those happen about 3 times faster. As far as cancer was concerned, there is a major cancer clinic in California that is using the Brown's gas as one of its major modalities to help people. And as far as age goes, when they're doing studies with rodents, the least they discovered was a 30% healthful life extension. 30%.
Wow.
Okay. Another rodent study was 50%. A third one, they actually killed the rats because they weren't dying. And the study ended and they didn't have enough money to continue. So they euthanized.
Incredible.
Who knows how long they would have lasted. So rodents are nice for these kind of studies because they have a very short lifespan, 1 to 3 years kind of thing. So then, but we have a lifespan, it should be 120 years. So, but we're looking at people who have been inhaling, and I'm not the only one. I'm just one of the longest because I've been inhaling since March of 2016. But you can see visibly in my pictures how I have definitely not aged and look like I did years before. So yes, we do have that sort of thing going on.
That's great. Great news. So you already explained us how it's important to have hydrogen in our bodies. And in this way, how come it's not explosive if you are inhaling? I just have this curiosity.
You ask very good questions. Very good. Okay. So it so happened that in December of 2015, so I was told originally in 1996 that there was this potential health application. And then in by 2005, my customers convinced me to try the gas. So I bubbled some in water and started drinking it. And by 2007, I hadn't gotten sick during the winter. And I used to get sick at least 3 times a winter with a cold or a flu, lots of coughing and fever and snot and
wow.
No sickness. I haven't been sick since 2005. So there's occasional some sneezing and a one-day thing kind of thing, but never any coughs or any, never sick again. Okay. So we get back to, and of course I've been drinking the water, and in December of 2015, a customer sent me a video of a Korean hydrogen bar, which was using Brown's gas, okay, this explosive gas, to give people treatments like this with a cannula. People come off the street, like we buy a cup of coffee, and they were going in and they were getting a Brown's gas treatment. And I looked at that because I knew that technology. That was the epoch machines in Korea. And I thought, holy smokes, and it suddenly hit me. You know, here I am, I'm a combustion expert, okay? But people get what I call expert syndrome, and they get blinders and they don't look at things properly, and it includes me. So here I was wrong again. First of all, I was wrong that it was a healthful gas. It definitely is a healthful gas. And here I was wrong again, recommending people not inhale the gas, just drink the bubbled water, because drinking the bubbled water was safe. It's not combustible. The gas is in the water, and there's only a little of it. So I was telling people not to inhale the gas because I didn't want them to be inhaling a combustible mixture. But when I saw them inhaling the mixture from these epoch machines, I suddenly realized how stupid I had been, how wrong I had been, because if you can keep the amount of gas that's going into you under what's called the lower explosion limit, okay, then it's not combustible. If you have a volume of air and it has a tiny amount of hydrogen in it, the hydrogen can't burn. It's only when you have enough hydrogen that it can burn that it will burn, okay? And that percentage is approximately 4% in air, 4% hydrogen. So as long as the hydrogen that I'm inhaling is less than 4% of the total amount of air that I'm inhaling, there's no combustible mixture going into my lungs.
I see.
Now, there is a combustible mixture coming out of here because this is 67% hydrogen, 33% oxygen. Perfect stoichiometric combustible mixture. If I light a match to this, it will go bang. It'll go bang right back these cannulas and right back to the machine. Okay. And there's people that have done that, both deliberately and accidentally. Don't do it.
Of course.
It's not a good idea.
Right.
It's not going to hurt anyone, but it's going to be loud. It's going to cause brown spots in the pants, and it just don't do it. Okay.
Right.
However, even an electrostatic spark, okay, you get clothes that have lots of electrostatic energy or stuff. You get dry environments and builds up static electricity. An electrostatic spark striking the hose that has the brown gas in it can ignite the brown gas in the hose.
Oh.
Okay, from the outside. Okay.
And there is safetyness that we don't get hurt if that happened.
Well, I thought about that a lot, and there have been about 5 different people have similar things happen to them where an electrostatic spark ignited it. If it ignites and it goes bang, the gas stops, the explosion stops here.
Oh.
It does not go into your lungs because as soon as you mix the gas with the air, it's not explosive.
I see.
So it's not a problem. Just have to be careful that the gas that you're mixing is only a tiny amount of the actual full volume that you're inhaling. So
how long do you have to inhale this gas every day in order to be healthy?
It really depends on the person. I can't say specifically. I'd say because there are tens of thousands of people inhaling and they're getting back to me, I'd say if you're a healthy person, an hour a day would probably maintain your health. Okay? Similar to eating. Like when you sit down 3 meals a day, it takes you about an hour to eat your food, right?
Right.
So this is nutrition, and that's the kind of thing, about an hour a day of saturating your blood. But with people with serious ailments, okay, like cancer and lupus and Parkinson's and COPD and people with serious ailments, whatever the ailment is, you need more. Okay. You probably have that ailment because you've been hydrogen deficient for many years. And your body has been trying to stay alive. Your body is very good at staying alive, by the way. Even though you are mostly hydrogen by volume, your body hangs on to that hydrogen really tightly. So if it's not really a problem in Mexico, but up in Canada, they have something called hypothermia. So where you can get so cold that your body can freeze to death.
Right.
And when people get that cold, the body knows to shut down the blood flow to the extremities, to your arms and legs, to preserve the core temperature, preserve brain temperature. So body will try to keep you alive the best it can. And the same happens when you have a lack of any particular nutrient. Your body will shut down extraneous systems until it can balance itself again. So the first thing that shuts down when you don't have enough hydrogen is your regeneration systems, because they're not immediately life-threatening. Okay, so your stem cells shut down, and then your immune systems start to shut down. So then you get sick easier. But again, that's not immediately life-threatening. And if you still don't have enough hydrogen, then your organs will start to fail, and then you'll die. So when you've got enough hydrogen, you start inhaling the hydrogen, your body will start fixing things inside it. And that may take some time. It may take months or years. I'm still noticing after all these years, after 4 years, I noticed I got my balance back. I was in the shower and I was cleaning my toes, and I realized I was standing on one leg cleaning my toes, washing my feet, and I wasn't leaning against the wall. And I can't remember. I couldn't remember when I had not been able to wash my feet and I had to lean against the wall. Suddenly I could see that I was doing it. And that was after 4 years of inhaling. One of the first things I noticed when I started inhaling was that I had psoriasis. Okay. And it was a thick, peeling white skin on my elbows, knees, and feet. And that skin started to peel off about 3 weeks after I started to inhale. And that was just disconcerting. It was like a snake peeling off its skin. But underneath was baby smooth, beautiful new skin. And that old skin was just peeling off. And I thought, okay, I could live with that. And I just kept inhaling, but mostly I was inhaling at first to prove that it was safe, to prove that I was wrong.
Right.
So I videotaped myself the first time that I inhaled, because I wanted, if something happened, I wanted to be able to have a record of my stupidity. So that video is on my YouTube channel, and people can see me as I looked at that time. I had snow white. This was all white. The video takes out a lot of the color and hair, but it's gray now, and it was all white before. So, and I had a scar on my forehead, and that's gone now too.
It disappeared?
Yeah, the scars are gone. All the scars on my body.
Wow.
Because what happens when you get enough nutrition, your body starts to heal itself, and those organs heal. I had a heart murmur for 50 years. And I had my new wife had me go and get a physical to make sure I was, going to last long enough to bother to be married with. And I told the doctor I had a heart murmur, and he says, "No, you don't."
It disappeared too? Wow.
So my organs were healing. One of the organs that healed was my skin. Your skin is your largest organ. And so all the scars, my immune systems had turned back on, my regeneration systems had turned back on. So instead of my body just patching a wound with a scar tissue, it actually generated the right cells to make the nerves and skin and everything and actually heal it, even though the wounds were decades old. And I did notice that they healed in reverse. It's very interesting. The oldest wounds healed last. The newest wounds healed first.
How long do you put it? How many bottles of water that it's gas charge of hydrogen daily?
Yes, the charge, yes. I find I do best when I drink 2 liters of hydrogen-rich water, the Brown's gas bubbled water, per day.
Okay.
Then my body works the absolute best. And I find that I have to drink the water and inhale the gas to get the best results. There are some ailments that are best mitigated with just drinking the water. So you're going to see people out there saying drinking water is best, it's better than the inhalation. But that's not true for everything. And I find that I got 10 times the results when I was inhaling. And if you inhale for 12 seconds, 12 seconds at 2% hydrogen in your inhaled breath, okay, which is what I'm doing at the moment, you will get as much hydrogen as in 1 liter of hydrogen-rich water. Okay.
Okay, so that's
so the 12 seconds, it puts a lot more hydrogen into your blood. Okay. So some things are best mitigated with the drinking of the water, and some things are best mitigated with the inhaling of the gas. But when you combine them, you not only get both of those, but they also both work better. So it's good to inhale and drink the water. I do, for my body size, 2 liters of water a day. And I inhale at least 8 hours a day, because you ask me what I do. I sit at my computer way too long and do too much, but I'm trying to help as many people as I can. And all the time that I'm sitting here, I'm inhaling the gas. So some people sleep with the gas. If they have serious ailments, you should do at least 8 hours a day. So if you have something like cancer, for example, and they've done studies with Brown's gas showing that is the case. Longer is better than more.
Okay.
More is dangerous, and more is actually a waste. So not only is it dangerous, but you don't get any additional benefit, because when your blood is saturated with the hydrogen, you exhale any excess.
Okay.
So it takes about 10 to 15 minutes of 2% hydrogen to fully charge the blood. And now you only need to inhale as much hydrogen as your body needs to keep the blood charged. with the hydrogen. Because just like carbon dioxide, any excess, you're just exhaling. So if you're inhaling more hydrogen than the body is absorbing, then on the outtake breath, you're just exhaling all that excess. So there's no reason to do more. And there are machines out there that say, oh, 3 liters a minute. We're making 3 liters a minute of gas. And there's so many people in the world that think more is better. And sometimes it's true.
Sometimes
like
not.
love, more is better.
Right.
But not this gas. This gas, enough is best, and longer is better.
What about the person who has
Emphysema, yes.
Emphysema.
Yeah. Yes. The nice thing about inhaling the gas is that it tends to go to the lungs first.
Okay.
So people with COPD and emphysema and even scar tissue in the lungs and a lot of allergies and things like that, those lungs are getting that benefit. And even in the most recent stupidity that went around the world, and they had what they called a cytokine storm. Okay.
Yeah.
Which was the final part of the sickness, supposedly. And it usually happened after the doctors had said, oh, the person called up and said, oh, I'm not feeling very well. And the doctor says, well, stay home and don't come to the hospital till you have to, kind of thing. So that people, they would get so sick that they would end up with the cytokine storm. But at that particular time, they didn't know, and a lot of people still don't know, that particular virus was a blood virus, not a lung virus. Now, they were calling it a lung virus and putting people on ventilators where they would usually die. 89% of them would die because they were mistreating it. As a blood virus, it was kicking the iron, heme or ferritin, whatever you want to call it, out of the red blood cells. So the red blood cells couldn't get oxygen attached to them because it needs that iron, right? So then the iron is just floating free in the blood plasma, and the red blood cells don't have enough. And so you become oxygen deficient. So that's why they were thinking they had to put the people on ventilators, because they're trained to think horses, not unicorns, right? Well, here we had a unicorn, and it was a blood disease. So as soon as you kicked as soon as you got the heme back on the red blood cells, it allowed the oxygen to come back up. And this is where the Brown's gas really worked. So in China, 4 billion people, Brown's gas was the #1 treatment for that ailment.
Mm-hmm.
And over there, what was happening is they would put the Brown's gas on them when they come in the hospital. And within 5 minutes, they would start breathing easier. Their blood oxygen levels would come back up. And within 3 days, they're walking out of the hospital. No extra really attention, no extra drugs, no ventilators, none of that kind of stuff. The reason was the electrically expanded water that we talked about at first. It's a charged form of water, electron rich. And when you inhale it, that charge goes into your blood, and it gave the red blood cells, the iron, what iron was left in the red blood cells, enough of a charge, a magnetic charge, electrostatic charge, that it would attach the oxygen to it. So the red blood cells would get the oxygen it needs, the oxygen in the blood would come back up, and the body would start to heal itself. And eventually the regular immune system would get rid of the virus, and the person would be healthy. So the Brown's gas really, really helped a lot of people in that particular time.
Right. Would you consider your machine an oxidative therapy?
No, just the opposite. As I was talking about with the cytokine storm, what happened was that's where the body's immune system goes crazy, and it just starts, it's like a shotgun in there, just blowing up everything, trying to save itself. Well, a lot of the problems with these oxidative stress, free radicals, cytokine storm is there's not enough electrons. So here again, the Brown's gas is putting electrons into, and it just smooths out and mitigates anti-inflammatory, all the free radicals, the oxidative stress, all that kind of stuff. So it's the exact opposite of an oxidative treatment. So if you're taking ozone or something, you don't do Brown's gas at the same time, because they will combine and just mitigate each other. So you'd want to do the ozone. Ozone treatments are good for what they're doing. You can get a lot of chelation and kill things that extra oxygen can kill. Same with
peroxide. I don't know.
Chlorine dioxide, MMS, all that kind of stuff. Yes.
That's
So,
going to be different.
but you keep them separate because you want to keep your oxidative therapies separate from your hydrogen therapy. Hydrogen comes in and mitigates the oxygen damage, stops it in its tracks, and helps heal. Oxidative burns, okay? It's what I call poor man's chemo. It's just an inexpensive way of doing a kind of a stress on the body like chemotherapy does. And then but on the other hand, then you have the hydrogen come in and heal everything. It gives the body the nutrition it needs to heal. And it's anti-inflammatory. It calms things down, cools things down, all that sort of thing.
Is there any not indication for your machine for any particular reason that a person shouldn't be inhaling or drinking the water?
I thought there was, and I was wrong again. Oh, good Lord. I've been wrong so many times in my life, but that's part of being an inventor. I'm wrong 99% of the time, but those 1%, and now I can do something that other people can't do.
That's right.
And that's kind of a thrill. So in any case, I have one particular thing where I don't know if it's good or bad. It's not good to do with an oxidative therapy, so we'll call that one. But the one I'm thinking now is if you get an organ transplant, and then they fill you full of drugs that will immunosuppressant drugs. Okay. Right. And one of the things that the Brown's gas does is help the immune system be stronger. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a situation where you don't want the immune system to get stronger, you may not want to do the Brown's gas. But I don't know for certain. It's the one area that hasn't had enough research yet. I haven't heard of any problems, but I have had several people not buy a machine, for example, because I'm honest with them. And I'm saying, I don't know. And it's a $2,500 machine. So if I don't know, then they don't know whether they should spend the money or not.
Now that you're getting into the price of the machine, well, people are thinking right now, why in the world I'm going to be spending $2,500 in a machine that I'm not quite sure if it's going to help for me or not. So how can we be trustful that this machine, if something is not going well or whatever, what are the offers of this machine?
For various reasons, I really care about people's health. And maybe at some point we'll go into that. But it is a passion of mine to help as many people as possible. So one thing that I do is I offer a 1-year satisfaction guarantee. So if you buy the machine, $2,500, and you use it for a year,
a complete year.
Wow. And it's just not doing it for me, and you send it back, you'll get your money back.
Really?
So I can't guarantee that it will help any particular ailment for 2 reasons. The first one is, even though I'm very educated in a lot of different things, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not an MD. So I can't legally prescribe or tell people protocols or anything like that. So I say to people, you kind of have to just try it yourself. You have to make your own protocols. Now I do have a page where I talk about my protocols, and some people use that as a template. But you have to make your own. So when you're doing the Brown's gas, it's entirely your own. Because I can't do any advice. But I couldn't really do any advice anyway. And no doctor could. Because every body is different. Right. Every body is different. Everybody's circumstances are different. So there's no way of knowing when you start to inhale what's going to happen. The first time I inhaled for 15 minutes at about 6:30 at night, I didn't sleep that night. I was wide awake and alert all night. It was very disconcerting.
Why?
I'm used to falling asleep wherever I am.
So why was that? What do you think?
Well, it made my brain alert. It just hydrogen. It just made me alert.
Like oxygen.
Like coffee. It wasn't like coffee. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I inhale the gas when I'm sitting at my computer. Not only do I know it'll do my whole body good, but I can go for hours working on the computer and I don't get bored. I don't get tired. I can just work and work and work and work and help as many people as possible. So that's what happened to me 15 minutes the first time I inhaled. which is that YouTube video that you can see on my channel. So my wife, my current wife, when she inhaled first time, 15 minutes, about 6:30 at night, she had the best night's sleep she could remember.
Wow.
Absolutely 100% the opposite thing in the same household.
I
There's
see.
no way anybody can tell what's going to happen.
What about the guarantee? I mean, if we are in Mexico, we are not very well adjusted to what is inside, or if for some reason this got out of
Yes.
order.
I call that the warranty. So it's a 1-year satisfaction guarantee. And then the manufacturer's warranty is a lifetime warranty on the machine. If anything goes wrong with the machine, that is manufacturer error or for parts, or we will cover the shipping to and back. We'll cover the labor and the parts. No
You mean
cost
to
to
tell me that
customer.
if I'm in Mexico and I have to ship this to Canada, where you are, this is not going to cost me for fixing the machine, and also the parts and the fixing and all the labor work.
That
It's
is
not going to
correct.
cost me anything for a
For your life. That's
for
right.
lifetime. Wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty good to know.
So pay attention to the other manufacturers' warranties and that sort of thing, because there's so many people out there that are jumping on the bandwagon at this moment, and I call them me too's, and they see the money potential. I'm turning my money around and trying to make the machine better and doing scientific research and all these kind of things. But these people, they're in it for the money, and that's it. And I see it happening, and I don't know what to do about it. Myself, I can put a warranty like that on the machine because when I grew up on the ranch, I considered myself to be lazy. Okay. I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning and going to work and working until it was dark. But I considered at hard work. We're talking riding horses, fixing fence, digging post holes, wrestling with cows.
That's a lot of work. Not
We're
lazy
doing
at all.
a lot of work. That's right. But when a machine would break,
Mhm.
I would figure out why it broke, and I would fix it so that it wouldn't break again.
Oh, I see.
Because I didn't want to do something more than once because I was late.
I see what you mean. Yeah, that's good to know. Okay, so one more thing. Sorry about being, I don't know, accepting about this situation, but why your machine instead of other machines? Why we should buy your machine instead of all these? I mean, it's been talking about hydrogen all over the YouTube and all over the place about this new thing. Like, why your machine instead of older ones?
Well, I've been working with Brown's gas for 40 years. So I have a pretty good idea what it's about, especially the dangers.
Okay.
Now, I've only been inhaling since March of 2016 and kind of only in the health field of it since, say, 2005, even though I was told in 1996 there was a health application. But I've been working with it as a combustible explosive, dangerous, if you will, the dangers of it, as well as lye. There's lye in the machine, which
Is that harmful?
makes so much big deal about lye. I sometimes have to laugh, and I'm so sad sometimes because people don't understand. It's what soap was made out of for thousands of years. People put it on their skin, and it's used in thousands of different industrial things. They use it as a coating on pretzels, so that and so people are eating it. They use it in municipal drinking water to neutralize the pH. So people are drinking it. People don't understand that a little bit of lye, even when you ingest it, is a good thing. And I have a page on that as well. Is Lye Safe? Okay. So there is lye in the machine, and some of the competitions that are working with permanent electrodes and stuff like that, permanent electrolytes. It only makes hydrogen and oxygen. It doesn't make Brown's gas. So for people, so they say, that's no problem. We'll just put the hydrogen and oxygen together and it's an oxy-hydrogen mixture and you have Brown's gas, but it's not true. So to get the most therapeutic value, you need to have Brown's gas, but those machines can't do it. So the ones that use a SPE or PEM, which is essentially solid polymer electrolyte instead of lye, yes, they are easier to maintain. That is true, but they aren't the most therapeutically efficacious. And because you need to have that no membrane in between the anode and cathode in order for the electron bridge to form for the Brown's gas, for the electrically expanded water to be made. Okay, so number one, they're not as, a lot of the other machines out there aren't as therapeutically efficacious because they're not making Brown's gas. Now, there are a few machines that are making Brown's gas, not a lot, but of them, there's people that are just doing the bare minimum. They make an electrolyzer that doesn't have the safety and functionality features that I put in our machine. And I built our machine right from the very first AquaCure I ever built back in, of the actual AquaCure that you're looking at. Because before that I was making what's called ER50s, which was like a science experiment that people could buy. And thousands of people did buy these kits and machines. But when I married my current wife, she said, no woman is going to want that in her house, that assembly of pipes that looks like a science experiment. Mm-hmm. So I designed the AquaCure kind of as it looks now. It's been modified somewhat over the years. And that was in late 2016. So by 2017, I was selling the AquaCure EAH 160, which then became the AC50 after that. But people take this chassis, which I buy from China, because quite frankly, I was making torches, okay? Mm-hmm. I was making electrolyzers to fuel torches, and the Chinese started making electrolyzers to fuel torches at 10th the cost that I could buy the parts for in America. Oh. I couldn't buy the parts for a 10th. It cost me $10 more to buy the parts than they were retailing the machines for.
Yes, okay? It's pretty well known that in China everything is cheaper, right. A lot cheaper.
So when my wife said that, I went back to my workshop and I brought out one of these machines that I bought on eBay, and I looked it over and I thought, this isn't bad. Like it's about my 1996 technology, but it's okay. But it was a bare bones electrolyzer. It needed a whole lot of different work inside to bring it up to safety standards. Now, the AC50 meets every worldwide safety standard. Worldwide. Doesn't matter if you're in Australia, Europe, America, it doesn't matter. It meets all worldwide safety standards. Not the original VING machine, the Chinese chassis that I built it from, but that allows me to get the housing and the bottom and all the little feet and the handles and just all those pieces that go together to make it at a 10th the cost. Wow. So I could sell the machines at $2,500 instead of $5,000.
Wow. Okay.
Now there are Brown's gas machines out there that are selling for as much as $30,000. And those ones do have medical certification in China, not in the United States, not in America, mm-hmm. not in Mexico or anything like nowhere outside of China. But they say, oh, it has medical certification, and it does, okay? And they're selling it for $30,000. It doesn't do as well as the AquaCure AC50 you can buy for $2,500. The $2,500 machine is safer and produces a higher quality gas than the Chinese medically certified machine.
And one of the most important things that you just said is that this is lifetime guarantee. So it should be good, because if you are going to guarantee it for a whole lifetime, of course, it has to be a very well-built
machine. That's correct.
Machine.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So I don't know if we are leaving something behind about the information about the health and also why it's important to have this machine in our house, this machine to myself, and to use it and to, well, I hope that also I can sleep better.
Now it does. Now I'll get back to a little point is that when my body got used to having enough hydrogen, mm-hmm. So at first, when you start inhaling, your body is going to start healing the things that it considers to be the worst or that need the most attention. So you may have what I call negative weirdness, okay? So there's people that get a headache, for example. Mm-hmm. And I say, great, because if you're inhaling a gas that has nothing in it that isn't supposed to already be in your body and you're getting a headache, nobody said healing would be comfortable, okay? You have the knee surgery, you know what I mean? It takes, right. You have to go through some discomfort for the healing to happen. So I say to those people, just cut back so that it's not terrible. You're not having a migraine. It's just a thump or thud or whatever. And you can, and then gradually you build up. So when I inhaled 15 minutes and then couldn't sleep, what I started to do was inhaling in the morning, so that by nighttime it was fine. But then once my body, over the weeks of time, I started inhaling more and then closer to night, and now it doesn't matter. My body just treats it like air. Other than being alert and healthy, I can still fall asleep normally, even if I'm inhaling the gas, no
Oh, I
problem.
see.
So and it's like that. So your body just goes to homeostasis. If you don't have enough of something, it brings you up. If you have too much, it brings you down. It just makes everything healthy because you need that hydrogen. Most ailments known to man these days are caused either directly by or exacerbated by not having enough hydrogen. And then the electrically expanded water that it helps the therapeutic value of the hydrogen just to help the whole body. One of the problems when people are sick is that they don't have enough energy. They've used up their energy reserves, and or their energy generation systems have been compromised. So what's happening when you're inhaling the Brown's gas is you're getting energy directly into your body, into your bloodstream. Those electrons are pure bioavailable energy. And you're getting that right into you, bypassing all those compromised systems. So now you can, that's why it's 30% more therapeutically effective. It's simply because of the electrons in the electrically expanded water.
Person can have a little discount about your machine, maybe with a coupon code or something like that.
Yes, and you and I will work out a coupon code that you
Okay.
can tell your listeners.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna
that-
put it in the interview so
Yes.
they know
Yes.
how to get the
So that-
machine and how
so
to
they
get
can
the
get it.
coupon code and the discount that they might be able to have it.
Yes.
Is there any particular discount that they can have it?
Well, it'll be about 5% discount.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's a good to know. What else are we missing right now?
Oh my goodness, I could talk for hours, but I really, we're just.
I just have one idea of what we're
Okay.
missing.
Go
We are
ahead.
missing to have this machine in our house. That's we are
Yes.
missing. We have to have it so we can
Absolutely.
experiment this health.
It's my goal to put one of these machines in every house in the world. I obviously won't accomplish this goal by myself, so I'll have, first of all, a lot of help, but then there's all these Me Too's that are jumping on the bandwagon. So what we're trying to do is set a gold standard for them to follow, because they're doing the minimum necessary to get people's money. But when people become more educated, then they can become more discerning as to what they buy. And they don't have to buy from us, but they should be discerning and buy from people who are making high quality machines. One of the testimonials I have was the guy saying, this machine is worth $400,000 to me.
Why?
Because he had really bad arthritis and he couldn't do his business anymore. He was self-employed. And when he got the machine and he could put the gloves on and put the gas in the gloves, his arthritis disappeared, just like mine did. One of the things I had is arthritis in my fingers. I now have full functionality with zero pain. I have a little click in this finger here, but that's it. And and he said he was able to further go on and make another $400,000, which allowed him to have a retirement income. And then he retired, and he's still alive and enjoying life.
It's incredible how many miracles you just told us about this machine might be doing to people. It's cancer, melanoma, this guy who has arthritis, yourself has arthritis, getting young again, like feeling stronger, have more energy, and have all these things that many people desire to have in a whole life. The more we get older, the more we are interested in having this these health issues resolved.
It's true. And one of the things I really, really, really appreciate is lack of pain.
Right.
I was living with all kinds of chronic pain, like the arthritis, for example. And I just thought it was old age, and that's just what I had to live with. I have no pain. Right now, I'm sitting here with no pain. I am so grateful to God and the people who convinced me to use my own technology for health.
It's incredible. It's a wonderful thing. It's a blessing that you were able to build this machine for other purposes like health. Whatever is missing out at this point, we'd be glad to hear about it. Thank you very much for your information, for the help, and please, anything that is missing,
I think there are lots of things that are missing,
of
but I
course.
think tell people that there are lots of things that are missing and to listen in for the next episode where we'll make a full presentation and it may be a lot longer than this, but it will be worth it.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for everything, Mr. George. It's wonderful to have this interview with you, and hopefully many people can get some benefit about this machine. Appreciate it.
Till next time.
Thank you. Thank you.